I want to work with some teachings and some ideas, concepts around something I call our sacred circle. And that term it came from the shamanistic tradition that I've studied for years and years. And we actually talk about it, or pray about it, you could say, when we smudge. So when we smudge, say we've got this bowl of burning sage, like an abalone shell, and it's smoking, or a smudge stick and it's smoking. And we take it and we hold it in front of our heart at about halfway through the smudge little ceremony. Is we hold it in front of our heart, move it, take it with my right hand and move it behind my back, grab it with my left and bring it full circle back in front of my heart again. And the intention or prayer when we do this is, and I draw myself into my sacred circle. So that's where the term kind of came from. And I just think it's such a cool metaphor. It's for a teaching. So what is our sacred circle? Okay, it's that thing where we hold our preciousness and the things that are most important to us, our beauty, okay, and the things that matter most to us, the things that are most important to us and that we care about a lot, okay? And we may have spent years figuring out what these things are and awakening these things. You know, the things like how we feel about our family and our significant other and our pets and those teachings and those spiritual experiences that almost make you cry, or when you've been touched, by spirit or by God or by whatever. It may be a really deep meditation. And so when we share these things with other people, there's a tendency to feel really vulnerable. Okay, and because we're exposing this purely authentic part of ourselves, this part of us that doesn't wear a mask. Okay, it's just pure beauty. It's our pure authenticity, and we're just saying, this is who I am. When we share one of these things, we're just taking, like, this is who I am. Okay, and that's really important. Don't get me, that's really an important thing. However, one of the things I like to ask, people I work with, and you may have heard me ask this of you in a ceremony or otherwise, is like, so who do you allow into your sacred circle? So by allowing into our circle, okay, it's a metaphor for who do we share our beauty and our preciousness with? Do we just share it with anyone? Or are we, my suggestion is we maybe consider being selective about who we share that with, okay? And that we use some discernment. And what do we discern? How do we evaluate who we allow into our sacred circle becomes probably the biggest question of this video. It's based on the extent that they can respect the values and ethics of our sacred circle. So our sacred circle is like, we're in our home now. Okay, this is where we make the rules. Okay, and it's where we hold these things. And so, like, how we treat each other is an ethic or a value, and that has, we have values and ethics about how we should treat each other and how we should not treat each other. Do we treat other people with compassion and respect? Well, that's a value, I would suggest, of your sacred circle. Okay, so when you allow someone into your heart, is another way of saying it, into your sacred circle, by sharing your true self with them, your authentic being with them, without any, without just purely exposing it. This is who I am, my suggestion is they need to respect you and your reality and your world, your ethic of that sacred circle. So they don't bring their nonsense, their sarcasm, their judgment, their criticism, their brilliant idea of how the world might be. It's not a time for them to bring that into your sacred circle. Metaphorically, it's not a time for them to respond with that when you share something precious with you. What we're looking for when we share something precious, it's really nice when people are able to respect that and honor that. Okay, and just listen and honor it and feel it. You're sharing something. It's a privilege that you're choosing to share this sweet, precious thing with them. And they get that. They understand, wow, that was real. And they're really, they stop what they're doing for a minute and it's like, whoa, this person's being real with me. And they just really allow it in and they honor it. Okay. Now that's really cool when that happens. Unfortunately, you may have noticed that doesn't always happen in our culture, mostly because people haven't been taught, And if this is making sense to you, we do ceremonies, we do sharing circles. Actually, on Thursday nights we do sharing circles, and we do these sharing circles, and we share. We're used to sharing what's real and what's vulnerable. We're used to sharing, our preciousness, But we don't always think about who we share it with. When we share in a sharing circle, there's someone there that's making sure, that may be me if I'm facilitating the sharing circle, I'm there to make sure people respect your preciousness. And if they start not, it's like, whoa, that's not what we're doing. We're not giving her advice right now. We're not telling her that she was really wrong to treat her boyfriend that way. No. She just risked something and shared it. So we're just going to hold that. And if you can't respect that, then you can't be here. Well, when you're not in ceremony and I'm not there or someone's not there to facilitate that, there may be part of you that you'd consider facilitating that, and so you can notice and use your discernment and you being in your power, we call it bear medicine, like being in your power. And you can share something, and then if they start not respecting what you're sharing and not honoring your heart, you could say, not honoring what you're sharing, then, it needs to stop. At that point, it's our responsibility. My truth is, it's our responsibility to remove them from our sacred circle. Now, that's a metaphor. What does that mean? It means they've lost the privilege of us sharing something precious with them, at least on this topic at this time. It's like that, that ship has sailed. I tried sharing and they criticized it, or they gave me unsolicited advice, or they laughed at it. And it's not, and so at that point, I'll go wait for that for a second here. So at that point, it's like, this share's over. And because, it's obviously it's not safe. They can't honor it. So it makes no sense. It's not true to yourself. It's not compassionate with yourself to continue to share it with a person that can't honor it. They're likely not used to it. They haven't sat in sharing circles. They haven't done heart chakra meditations and whatever else you've practiced in your spirituality. So this raw emotion, this raw preciousness, this raw honesty and vulnerability, it often can kind of freak people out. And when they freak out, they don't know what to do. And so they do unconscious things, often unconsciously, to kind of shut you down because they're freaking out that it got so real. So without even thinking, they say something stupid, or they give you they do something and they may not mean it. They may probably feel really bad afterward, but still they're not available for you to receive your preciousness at that time. So it stops. So they are removed from your sacred circle. It's kind of a strict teaching in a way, but it's a way that you honor your heart. It's a way that you honor your own preciousness. You don't just share that with anyone. And some of us have been taught to just give and give and give of ourselves. Some of us have shared with people that we had, from this perspective, no business sharing something that sweet and that precious. Perhaps you've dated someone or been in a relationship and think about, intimacy, like sexual intimacy and the vulnerability and like the heart, the open heart and saying, I love you. I mean, this is stuff from your sacred circle, right? And if the person you know, maybe they were really cute and maybe they were really cool and maybe they were really smart or charming or whatever else. But if they're not able to respect those things, you know, you're probably not doing yourself or them, in one sense, a service by sharing these things, these precious things with them. A really strict teaching, I was working with my teacher, I think it was about 30 years old or so. And so just the other day, right? So, and I was married at the time, and then I had this employee. So I was doing a session with my teacher on the phone, and I started sharing about how I'd just been at ceremony. I did that exact thing. I'd just been to ceremony, and I was like sharing like my whole self with my wife, and then I was sharing it with my employee, and they, you know, they both of them in different ways were threatened by it. You know, my wife was pretty intellectual, and you know, the employee was, well, he was a piece of work. He was a really good salesperson, but he was definitely a piece of work. And my teacher just said to me, I had told them these things about how I'd gotten my heart broken and shared this, and he said, they don't deserve your open heart. You know, and I was just like, wow, that's really strong. I thought we were just supposed to share our open heart with everybody. It's like, no, absolutely not. We share that preciousness. We share that preciousness with people that are able to honor it. You know, and when we don't, we're almost doing a disservice to ourselves. We're almost setting ourselves up for the slaughter, and it's not fair to them either. You know, so instead, what we can do is let's just, you know, to kind of tie this up, is my suggestion, you know, or my invitation, as I often say, is to just be a little more conscious and discerning about who you allow into your sacred circle. You know, who you share your innermost thoughts and your precious, who you date, who you interact with, who you go on trips with, who you allow into your home, who you share your spiritual practice with, you know, who you share the wild dream that you had with, or your new spiritual experience, or something that you're just really excited about, or this new person that you're excited about getting to know. You know, the most vulnerable things. It's like, my suggestion is to be a little more selective, a little more discerning, and to just notice, like, is this person able to honor being in my sacred circle? You know, are they able to hold what I share? And you can start sharing a little bit and seeing what they do. And then if they're able to take that, then you can share a little more and a little more. And if they're not, you just kind of fold up your pup tent and move on down the road and find someone that is able to honor your sacred circle, and then share it with them. So the teaching is definitely continue to share your heart, just share it with people that are able to honor your heart as you share it. So that is my video for this week. And thank you so much for watching. And I hope you have an awesome week. And perhaps just notice when you have something precious and authentic to share, and you want to share it with someone, you might just want to think like, okay, who's a good person? Who would be able to hold this? Who would be able to respect and understand this enough that when I share it with them, they would be able to honor it? And then try that. And when someone's not able to honor it, just remove them from your sharing circle, your sacred circle, and be on your way. You can still be their friend, but perhaps you're not being as vulnerable when you share the most precious things with them. So I will see you in a week.